Good Thursday morning to you. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Martrich, and this is your outlook for February 12th, 2015. And we're going to have some snow showers today here, not from from a very weak system, a clipper system moving off to our north here. I'm just expecting a few very light snow showers across mainly our northeast areas here, just the areas I'm circling here. Everywhere else could just have a passing flurry and just cloudy skies associated with this system itself. We're going to go over to the NAM high-res future simulated radar. Here is is going to be blink and you miss it. I'm telling you, this is 10 o'clock in the morning here. We're going a little bit further on from that time frame. Just a few snow showers moving to the southeast through the area. And that's about it. It moves out of here, and that's all you have. So there's not really too much to worry about today as far as snow accumulations. These are going to be in the form of snow squalls, though, because there is a little bit of instability aloft that will fuel some of these and give you some snow squalls as they move to the southeast. But you're looking at coating to 1 inch tops out of this. That's it. And then it moves through, and you're done with that, and that's off and out of the picture here. I'm going to go over to a different frame now here. We're going to look over to the next system, which is going to be affecting the area Saturday afternoon and Saturday overnight. And I'm going to show you the upper area of vorticity for this, because this is very important. First of all, this is looking up at about 18,000 feet at 500 millibars. Here is your area of low pressure here. This thing is going to dive down to the south here. Now, it's going to dive south, but how far south it dives is really going to play a big role on how much snow we get in our area here. If this thing digs a little bit further, we get more snow. And if it doesn't dig that far, like the GFS is showing, you really don't get much at all here. So I'm going to move this a little bit forward into our couple frames forward here. You can see this thing moving down here is now over, we'll call it Erie right here at this point. And this is actually looking at Saturday evening. Then we go a little bit further to the next frame here. It's situated over south central PA. You can see you have a closed off low here. Here is your lower area, your closed off low in the upper level sitting right about here. So this is where your center of low pressure is. It's a little bit further south now. The GFS is more or less up in this area here by a good bit. So that's going to make a big difference. I mean, if the GFS is correct, you're talking about maybe an inch or two, maybe 3, and that's it. And that's out of here. If this thing digs a little bit more, digs even further than shown here, like maybe down by DC or Northern Virginia, you can get into a little bit more snow out of this. So we're going to keep a close eye on this to see what this does, because the models have been some models are very aggressive with that, some aren't. Regardless, it looks like once it dips down, it's going to continue off to the east here. And once again, Boston is going to get drilled. I mean, there are really no two ways about it. That Boston is looking like they're going to be under the gun for yet another major snowfall. And we're just determining right now whether or not it's going to be for this area as well. So let's go back to the global models here. We're going to go through this and show you going into the future here. Here's our first system exiting, and then we're looking at Friday being a cold day. Cold and breezy, but I think it's going to be mostly Thursday night that's the breezy part here. So you see that with these tight isobars. This is overnight Thursday night, and then we get into Friday. You see they start spreading out a little bit. That means that the winds are going to improve. And then especially by Friday noon here, you can see these are pretty far apart. These isobars, I mean, further east are still pretty tight here, but these are pretty far apart. So I mean, that tells me that the winds are going to die down significantly. So maybe a little breezy yet in the morning here on Friday, but that's about it. So it will be cold, but I don't think it's going to be brutal. All right, and go a little bit further from that. Here's our system diving down to the southeast, and here's what you get here. You have a strong area of low pressure here, again, matching the surface reflection by Lake Erie. Next frame is down here by the Delmarva. It looks great, but there's not a lot of precip with it. You notice not a lot going on here. Not really. Okay, and then we go to the next frame here, and we get a little bit of an inverted trough that sets up once this thing gets up by Boston, Cape Cod area here, and of course Boston's getting drilled. But you got a inverted trough that sets up the axis that sets over here over northern New Jersey, extreme northeastern PA, and that can give you some localized heavy snow as well. So a couple different things going on here. You got this area of low pressure that's going to be diving down to the southeast here. And hopefully, I mean, if you want a lot of snow anyway, you want a chance at a bigger snow than just like an inch or two, and you're talking about maybe getting 4 to 6 inches of snow, or maybe even more than that. You're going to have to expect that this storm comes a little bit closer to the coast, and by doing that, it's going to have to dig a little bit more in that trough axis we just showed you on the previous frame here. So if it does dig, in fact, do that and dig more, the more digging you get here, and actually I'm frame ahead here, the more digging you get of this trough, which this trough is actually situated right here. Here's your trough axis. Okay, it just needs to dig a little bit further down to the south, and if it does that and actually ends up over DC as this digging, instead of being over south central PA or southeastern PA or even further north, I mean, if you need this thing to be further south, that's what you basically need to happen with this digging here. Okay, and then going a little bit past this here, we're going to go into Sunday now. The third, now I'll tell you what, that it's Saturday night and Sunday. Once this pulls away here, you're going to get into some really, really windy conditions here, and that's because you have a very strong high pressure sitting out here, 1,046 millibars, and a very strong low pressure here is 983. The pressure gradient between these two are insane. I mean, you're going to have winds here. They're going to be in the 20 to 30 mile an hour sustained range, maybe even higher than that, with gusts over 45 miles per hour, perhaps over 50 miles per hour here. So very strong winds in association with this. Would not be surprised to see some blizzard warnings up here, even though the precipitation isn't that light here. We're not talking about a lot of snow, but with the wind is actually what makes the criteria of a blizzard. 3 or more hours consecutive of 35 miles per hour greater winds sustained, and along with blowing and drifting snow. So that is definitely a possibility. As we get into Sunday morning, this is just not fair. Look at these winds here. Look at these isobars. I mean, they're literally, I can almost draw these on top of each other. That's how close they are. And again, that's because you have a very strong area low pressure here, 973 now east of Cape Cod, and it's still you have your strong high pressure at 945. This pressure difference is insane between these two areas of low pressure, and is creating a one heck of a gradient here, and that's going to cause your winds early Sunday. Sunday is not going to get warm at all. You're going to be talking about temperatures here going to be barely making it 10, 12 degrees, and that's about it. In a lot of areas, you're going to have wind chills that are well below zero, talking about teens. Like negative 10 to minus 25 wind chills. It's going to feel like it looks like on Sunday here, even during the day and the best part of the day here. Winds do start to slack off slightly, ever so slightly, as we get into Sunday night. And then that's it. And then high pressure is going to move in and kick the winds out of here and send it east with that system. But very strong winds with this system here. It's looking like, especially as you get an early Sunday morning. Especially with these winds here, really going to be gusting over 45, maybe even over 50 miles per hour at times with those cold winds. So we'll get into that as we get a little bit closer to that, because that's something we definitely have to be making everybody aware about, because we're talking about dangerous wind chills, and frostbite can occur in a matter of minutes in that situation. And we have another system here that's going to come in here on Tuesday. Looks like it is going to, all the models are showing this coming in as snow to start. So we do have snow in the forecast on Tuesday, but does that stay snow? Does it go over to a mix? Does it go over to rain even if this thing cuts? I mean, odds are I don't think it's going to cut, but it might be suppressed for too far to the south. The models have this heading right now, but doesn't mean that's going to be the case as we head into next week once we get past these first two systems and the models figure out what's going on downstream and get a better handle on it. Right now, the best call will be at least a start to snow, maybe going over to a mix. Maybe some areas south and east get some rain out of it, and then going back to snow before it ends. That's probably the best call right now based on what we're looking at. But, a lot of things are predicated on what systems, number one, today, and number two, on Saturday, does to set up this system here on Tuesday into Wednesday. So we'll get into this as we get a little bit closer. Right now, I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Martrich, and that is going to be your outlook for February 12th, 2015. Have a great Thursday.